I'm just continuing the review problems. So these guys right here, same base and it says minus, so I'm going to turn it into division, which is going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4 over x plus 2 minus. The reason that I didn't combine this one here is because I have the natural log of e, which is just going to be 1. But remember, put the exponent in front, so it's 3 times the natural log of e. And the natural log of 1, the log of 1, no matter what kind of log it is always 0. So I'm going to make that 0. This natural log of e is going to be 1, so this is going to become 3. I'm going to factor this guy out. It's going to tell me x plus 2 times x plus 2 over x plus 2. I just put that bottom part in parentheses. So these are going to cancel. So I have the natural log of x plus 2 minus 3 less than or equal to 0. Add the 3, natural log of x plus 2 less than or equal to 3. To get rid of this, I'm going to do e to the power x plus 2 less than or equal to e to the 3, 20.09 approximately, minus 2, x is less than or equal to 18.09 approximately. Now remember that the of can't be 0 or a negative number, so x squared plus 4x plus 4 has to be greater than 0. This also has to be greater than 0. Whichever one gives me the larger number, that's the one I'm going to use. This gives me as x is greater than negative 2, and if I do the quadratic right here, I get x is greater than negative 2 for this one as well. So my answer is going to be x follows the rule that negative 2 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 18.09. Next one is three log base x plus 2 of 3x minus log base x plus 2 of 3x squared minus log base 1/3 of 9 to the power of negative 1/2. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this exponent over here. I'm going to say the log base x plus 2 of 3x cubed. I'm going to put parentheses around that to make sure I cube them both. Log base x plus 2 of 3x squared minus log base 1/3 of 9 to the negative 1/2 equals 0. This is a number. I'm going to bring this exponent to the front because it doesn't have the same base anyways, and I'm going to combine these two. So I'm going to say log base x plus 2 of 3x cubed over 3x squared minus negative 1/2 times the log. I'm going to make this the log of 9 over the log of 1/3. I'm kind of doing two steps at the same time. When I do this in my calculator, it tells me negative 2. So I'm going to say log base x plus 2 of 3x cubed over 3x squared. This gives me 2 or negative 2. Let me do it on my calculator. Log of 9 divided by log negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 1/2 tells me 1. Add this 1 over. I'm gonna expand this part right here. 3x times 3x times 3x gives me 27x cubed. So 27 divided by 3 is going to be 9. X cubed divided by x is going to be, x cubed divided by x squared is going to be x. To get rid of this base, I'm going to do x plus 2 to the power of. X plus 2 to the power of 1 is just 1. I'm going to subtract the x, and I'm going to divide by 8. And I'm done. Some of these problems are really long, which makes it hard to even write them on the paper. So hopefully you have the paper there so you know what I'm doing. This one is of 1, so that's going to be 0. This 2 is going to move to the front, to the exponent. Log base x squared of x squared is going to be 1. I'm going to combine these two because they have the same base. Log base 2 of x plus 3 times x plus 2. I'm going to add the 1 over. Log base 2 of x plus 3 times x plus 2. I'm going to do 2 to the power of to cancel this. So x plus 3 times x plus 2 equals 2. I'm going to expand this. X squared plus 2x plus 3x is plus 5x plus 6. Remember the rule says when you have a squared, get it equal to 0. So I subtract 2. I'm going to factor this. You could use the quadratic formula, but it's going to be easier for me to factor it. So my solution here would be -1 and -4. I have to try them back in my original. -4 gives me a negative value here, so it can't be that. -1 is okay. -1 is okay. -1 is okay here and here. In the original one, it was log base x squared of x. So I can't do of a negative number, so that's going to be a problem there. So I would say that because of this original part right here that I had, this would also not work. If you put it on the test, I'm going to count it as okay, but realistically it should be no solution. Continuing on, e to the 2x minus 1 minus 4 log base 7 of 3 equals log base x squared minus 3x plus 1 of 1. It's of 1, so that equals 0. This exponent's going to come to the top, so it's going to be 3 to the power of 4. These are all numbers, so this is a number. 3 to the power of 4 is 81. Which means what I can do is I can do the log of 81 divided by the log of 7. So the log of 81 divided by the log of 7 tells me 2.26 approximately. Now I'm going to add it over. To get rid of the e, I'm going to do the natural log of each side. The natural log of 2.26. 815. Add 1. And then divide by 2. I'm going to check it in my base. This gives me positive number, so it's okay. So this is my answer. Keep going. I know that both these videos are really long, and I apologize, but that's how long it takes me to solve these. So when it's same base and it's subtraction, then I'm going to divide. These definitely do not cancel out, so don't tell me that. This is the number. I'm going to put it in my calculator. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm not, just because when I get rid of this natural log, I'm going to get rid of this one also. So e to the power of is going to cancel, and it's going to cancel that as well. So if I did it in my calculator, because of rounding, I might come up with slightly the wrong answer. So I'm not going to do that this one time. Now I'm going to multiply by 2x minus 1. So this is going to give me 2x plus 1 equals 8x minus 4. Subtract the 2x and add the 4, so 5 equals 6x, and then divide by 6. X equals 5 over 6. Try that in here. 10 over 6. Yeah, that's positive, and that's positive. That's okay. So that's my answer. Tells me to graph. So now I'm getting to ones that hopefully I can do a little bit faster. Save some time. So I'm going to factor this guy first. So I'm going to do the same chart that she did the other day in class. So my basic formula would be 2 to the x. 2 to the x, if x is 0, is going to be 1. If x is 1, is going to be 2. Now I'm going to see what my a value is here. So a is 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And what's my k value is -1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. 6 minus 1 is 5. Now over here, I'm going to do my b value. My b value is 1/4. So times 1/4. 0 times 1/4 is 0. 1 times 1/4 is 1/4. And then plus my h value. And h is -1. So 0 minus 1 is -1. 1/4 minus 1 is -3/4. Now I'm going to graph these new points. -1, 2. And -3/4, 5. So my graph must be going like this. I can do the original one also if I wanted to. Let me see. 0, 1, 1, 2. And the original one's like this. So I can see the new one. The new one is g of x. But it didn't tell me to graph the original one, so I don't necessarily have to do that. Okay, tell me the change, and that uses the same problem. So I'm going to actually use this problem right here to tell you the change from 2x. So the change is vertically stretched by a factor of 3. This is going to be horizontally compressed by a factor of 1/4. This is going to be 1 unit to the left, and this is going to be 1 unit down. And that's the next problem. Problem after that is, tell me the change from f of x equals log of x to g of x equals -6 log of x plus 5 minus 4. So this is going to be a vertical stretch by a factor of 6. It's going to be reflected across the x-axis. This is going to be 5 to the left, and this is going to be 4 down. The next problem tell me the change from f of x equals 2 to the x, and g of x equals -3, 2 to the -x plus 1 minus 7. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out that negative sign in front of my x. Whenever I have something in front of the x, I'm going to do that. So this is going to be vertically stretched by a factor of 3. This is going to be reflected across the x-axis. This is going to be reflected across the y-axis. This is going to be to the right one. And this is going to be down 7. It's also going to tell me to graph this, I'm sure, as my next problem, but let's see what it tells me. Graph. Oh no, it's a different problem. 1/2 log 2x minus 4 plus 5. When I have a number in front of my x, I have to factor it out. This was g of x equals 1/2 log 2 times x minus 2 plus 5. So I'm going to do my x and y. The function that I would compare it to would be the log of x. So I can't do the log of 0. I can do the log of 1. The log of 1 is 0. And I'm going to do the log of 10 because it has a base of 10, which is going to be 1. Multiply this times my a value, which is 1/2. So 0 times 1/2 is 0. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. Add my k value, which is plus 5. 0 plus 5 is 5. 1/2 plus 5 is 5.5. Now with my x's, multiply by b. B is 1/2. Because remember, it's the inverse. So times 1 over 2. 1 times 1 over 2 is 1 over 2. 10 times 1 over 2 is 5. And then plus my h value. My h value is 2. So 1/2 plus 2 is 2.5. And 5 plus 2 is 7. So my new values are 2.5 and 5. 2.5 and 5, and then 7 and 5.5. I do have an asymptote on here that I want to keep in mind. Remember that my x value cannot equal 2, so x equals 2 is an asymptote. So that means that my graph is looking like this. And that's it. Is that right? Did it go this way? Yes, it went that way. Okay. Next one, tell me the change from f of x equals the log of x to g of x equals 1/2 log, 2x minus 4 plus 5. Remember again, I'm going to factor out that 2, so it's going to be 2 times x minus 2 plus 5. So this is going to be vertically compressed by a factor of 1/2 right here. This is going to be horizontally compressed by a factor of 1/2. If you're wondering what these two do to the graph, it actually cancels each other out is what it does. This is going to be to the right 2, and this is going to be up 5. And that's the change. The next one telling me the change from f of x equals log of x to g of x equals log base 1/2 x plus 4 to the third minus 1. Okay, so I tried to trick you on this one. Remember that your exponent has to come to the front. So g of x equals 3 times the log. This 1/2 needs to be factored out. When I divide 4 by 1/2, it actually becomes 8. So this 3 is going to be vertically stretched by a factor of 3. This 1/2 is going to be horizontally stretched by a factor of 2. This 8 is going to be to the left 8, and this 1 is going to be down 1. And that's it!